All right, joining me now is Rob from World's Scariest Police Chases. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Now, first, with the name, where did the name come from? I figure I got to get into that. It's a very long name, by the way, not like bad long, because I don't think you can take out any of those words and not have what it is. But still, it's a long name. So, where did the name come from?
I think so. I am not an original member. I joined like 10 years ago. But from what I've heard, it is just kind of the most absurd thing they can come up with. Um, so success there, making it hard for people to search us. And I think there's like a PlayStation 1 game, a very bad PlayStation 1 game, World Scariest Police Chases. So
I was just going to ask. I should have looked it up. I think there was either a TV show or maybe that was like a segment on a TV show with World's Scariest Police Chases.
yeah, yeah, I'm sure there's a TV show in there too, intertwined. But yeah, and anything we could do to make it more difficult to find us, we tend to go that route.
Well, since you've been in the band 10 years, how long has the band been a band?
The band has been a band for 15 years.
Okay. And so you joined about 5 years after. What brought you to the band?
So they had just released No Effects, Out Come the Wolves Dookie. And the drummer at the time did the recording, but wasn't sure he was gonna play shows. So I was just kind of planning to fill in. I did fest with them, did a couple local shows, and then that turned into a couple more shows. And then 10 years later, I switched to guitar and we got another drummer and I've been in the band.
Excellent. So, since the other band members weren't here, if you wouldn't mind, just give a quick rundown of who else is in the band and what they do in the band.
So there's Dan. We have three Dans. There's Dan, who is the vocalist, Dan Nelson, guitar player, Dan DeLucia, guitar player, me, guitar player. We have Max Gregg on bass, and Nick is our drummer.
So you have five members and three Dans.
Yes.
You could have been the band of Dans.
We threw that around, at least like a side project kind of thing.
Right? That'd be fun. So you guys, as a band, World's Scariest Police Chases, there's three albums out at this point, but new album coming out. We're talking the day before it comes out. By the time people are hearing these, though, the album is going to be out. So album number four is more or less out.
Yep. Yep. We did like a bunch of, I think we released like four songs. So the single's been out for a little while. And yeah, officially the whole thing comes out Friday, which is the 26th.
26. So with four singles released, how many tracks are on the album?
10 tracks.
10 tracks, so a sample of four. And since the four are already out, and obviously they're focal tracks, right? The tracks that you guys thought, hey, check this out because we got more on the way. Why don't
hmm
you tell me a little bit about each of those four tracks?
So I don't know. It's always tough to kind of like think back, like, oh, what's a single? What are people gonna like? So I don't know. My favorite, I still keep coming back is Wild Card, which we released first. Um, so I don't. I think it was one of the earlier songs that we kind of pulled together for this record, and it just kind of laid the foundation for the rest of the songs, kind of how they'd feel and sound, and how we were gonna kind of tackle the record. Trying to think. So Smoke Underwater is one of our heavier songs on the record. Definitely darker, um, yeah, lyrically and musically. Defeated, I don't know, just good, well-rounded track. Like has a nice little catchy chorus. And I'm blanking on the last one. Oh, No Necking on the New Old Mill, which is an absurd title, which I don't know, but that song also has like a pretty heavy feel and it's definitely in your face. So those four kind of encapsulate the feel sound that we were kind of looking for the rest of the record. So figured those were a good place to start off with.
Well, speaking of absurd, I mean, I wouldn't say World's Scariest Police Chases is an absurd band name, but it's starting to head more that direction than it isn't. But you go back to the album titles that have been released by the band. Unfuckwithable was the first one.
Uh-huh.
And then, as you said, the second album, which is right before you joined, which was, well, I have to read that. No Effects and Out Come the Wolves Dookie. There we go. That was just long enough that
Yeah.
You had what three different record inclusions in that one album title.
Yep. Yeah, and the
And then
cover is a
go ahead.
callback to like all those records.
Were there any covers on that, or just decided covers of tracks from those anyway? Nope, just all
Nope.
originals and decided this is kind of the sound that we're coming from. Here you go.
Yep.
All right, and then you joined the band, and then album the third. I don't even want to say album three because it's album three, right?
Yeah.
So the third album, ABLUM, album. Is that I don't know how else you would say it.
I don't know. It's
Absurd.
yeah, kind of just a continuation of our absurd theme and, making it annoying for people to find, which is like totally silly, but yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like I type that in and every time like I get, corrected, like that's not how you spell it. Yeah, I know. And, it has like the red squiggly line under it. It's like, Jesus, like what are we doing? But there it is. But yeah, that record was definitely it seems like after every release we lose a member or new members come in. So there's definitely like a musical change. And that one we originally had two singers. And when we were writing that record, the one singer kind of let us know he was going to leave. So there was definitely like a transition there from, him being like a major contributor lyrically to where we are now, which is more Dan, the main singer.
Okay. You guys, 2012 first album, 2013 second album, 2018 third album,
Hmm.
and then 7 years later is the new album. What is the name of the new album?
Tell my mom and dad I love my mom.
Of course, right?
Yeah, of course.
Uh, why? What was going on in that 7 year-ish window for the band?
I mean, obviously the pandemic was a
Yeah.
huge hindrance as, it was to all, like we couldn't get together. There was a while there where we were, towards the end getting back together and like, are we still doing this? Are we like a band anymore? So it just took us, I'm sure everyone had the same experience, just took us forever to get going again. And we were definitely like stagnated. Like we had some songs, we had some ideas, and it just took us a really, really long time to kind of like, all right, let's do this again. So finally, we kind of got together, tightened up these songs, recorded them, and then I don't know, sat on it again because we didn't know what we were doing with it. And then finally we hooked up with Say 10, who put out the previous record, album three. And, so here we are, kind of trying to hit the ground running and get it out and promote it and all the good stuff that comes along with releasing a record.
Well, you released the last one in 2018. I would assume then up till the pandemic, so a couple years, you probably were playing shows, playing, obviously the new stuff. Pandemic hits, and then you guys, as a band, as a lot of bands did, obviously some sort of a break. And then, as you said, you're getting the momentum back. So since the pandemic, have you guys played any shows together? 22, 23, 24, 25, somewhere in that range. Have you been doing anything active in that sense?
We we do fest every year um, down in Gainesville, Florida. That's kind of like our main, like we always just like whatever we're doing, we set aside time and go play that. So that's kind of been like our recurring show that we play every year. But yeah, we did a little stint with Leftover Crack last December. We're going out with them again in November to promote the record. Then other than that, we were just, kind of doing the local shows, doing the Weekend Warrior stuff, getting out of town for a weekend. Um, but we're hoping to kind of like get behind this one a little more and get out of town and, you know, play it in front of people.
Well, Gainesville is obviously a pretty good travel from Pittsburgh. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's definitely getting out of the neighborhood. Definitely more than what you would do on a weekender. I'm
Hmm.
sure, weekenders are going to be a bit more regional, whatever direction you go. Where have you played any other festivals on top of Fest?
Uh, we've done Black Christmas, which is the fest that Suicide Machines puts on. Um, Other than that, not so much. We definitely would like to do more. I mean, those festivals are great because you get to hit like an audience that you wouldn't hit otherwise, and they're all in one place, which is super cool. We're playing Pooza potentially this year. We're trying to get on that, which is like up in Montreal. Uh,
right?
so yeah, we're trying to hit some of those, seeing what we can do, get on more of them.
What's the furthest the band has traveled for playing shows?
Uh, I don't know. I think probably at this point, New Orleans might be the furthest that we've made it. Um, Trying to think. We did a little journey in Canada, but that's not super far. Uh, did like Toronto, Montreal, St. Petersburg. But yeah, other than that, we haven't like hit up the West Coast. It's always kind of been like a dream doing West Coast, maybe Europe. So getting like really out of town.
Right, right. If you line up a festival of sort, that kind of gives I'm sure, a good reason or those other incentives to be like, oh, all right, since we're going to the West Coast, like California's obviously got a ton of festivals pretty much throughout the year, but obviously the festival months for North America and Europe are like April maybe through around right now, maybe October-ish.
Hmm.
Obviously, it gets colder and
Yeah, yeah.
snowier, and so it makes travel hard and cancellations a lot more likely. So it makes sense. But if you were to line up one of those festivals somewhere else, it would be easier to say, all right, since we got that lined up, let's go do a week in California. 'Cause you could easily spend a week just in California alone.
Oh yeah.
So that would be awesome. Obviously, Europe would be awesome. It's probably about the same travel, maybe a little bit further. I guess depends on where you drop in Europe, but to the West Coast from Pittsburgh is probably about the same, right? It's about what, 4.5, 5 hour flight to California.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and so it's probably about a 5 or so hour flight to Europe, I'm going to guess. And again, it depends on where you drop in at.
Hmm. Yeah.
Is that something you guys pay attention to? I asked some bands, you can see like Spotify is one of those good examples that gives you geographic interest in what you're doing, right? You can see where you're more listened to around the world or even like specific cities here in the States. Is that something that you guys have noticed? And if so, is that kind of direct you to places you would like to travel?
Yeah, I don't know. I was actually just talking to we played with a band called American Television last night from DC, and I was just talking to the singer about that. I was like, "Do you see any kind of correlation between like, say you send out an ad on Instagram and you can kind of try to tell it where to go, like if you have certain areas you want to hit or you're interested, like are you seeing a correlation between like interest from say like an Instagram ad or Spotify plays to people coming out to the shows?" And he was like, I don't know. Like we don't really see that tie-in. So it's who knows, Like I don't know who's listening necessarily. Like it's just kind of like a passerby like happened to kind of like, hey, I like this band. I'll just give this band like a 20-second listen and then we still get like the numbers from it. Or is it like a
Right.
legit band? It's really tough to tell. Like the digital marketing is, I don't know, overwhelming to say the least.
Yeah, there's so many things. Like I know the arguments against like Spotify or Apple Music, and I agree with those disagreements with them. But I would say since there's there and it'd be really difficult for them not to be there or even
Yeah.
change that much, then you can just utilize it as some sort of a information gatherer, right? You get to see which of your songs and by numbers of play, really, which are the popular ones. So when it comes to playlists, as you pointed out at the top, we were talking about the 4 singles released. Hard to say what the single is as a band because the band might have individuals connected to songs more than other songs. But then
Mhm.
once everything's out in the wild for everybody to listen to, I don't know how many times I've come across albums where I was like, oh yeah, the singles that came out were okay, but man, I really like this other track that if you don't go check out the album, you'll never hear it.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really curious to see what what the response will be. I'm hopeful to be positive, but I feel like I don't know. I'm just so not nervous is the right word, but like you see on our last record, like, one, two, three, four, like get a lot of plays, and then it just slowly like dribbles down towards the end of the record. So I don't know. I'm hoping we're kind of pushing like, not like one, two, three of these singles are like all over the record. So I'm curious, maybe that'll help, people to kind of navigate the other songs in the record, not just kind of skip to like the first four. And I don't know. I feel like like I was saying, like the digital world of music and music promotion is super overwhelming, and it's really tough to tell like, hey, spend most of your time here. This is like where the payoff is versus like, just shooting information all over the place and hoping like something hits somewhere. It's just
Right.
a wild, it's a wild time. Super frustrating.
It is. I wish I knew as well. I have no idea how the best way to focus. I just figure if I just keep doing something
Hmm.
along those lines, then at least I'm doing something, even though I don't know if I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah, you'll hit that algorithm magic, and next thing you know, it's like, oh crap, I'm like popular.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh, so when you guys went out with Leftover Crack previously, where'd you guys go?
We started here in Pittsburgh, and then we just kind of went westward a little bit, played Cleveland, Kentucky. There's one other stop that I'm forgetting, then we ended in Chicago.
Okay.
So it was just kind of like a short week that we did with them.
Then since I think you said you're playing with them again, kind of as album promotion coming up in November, where are you heading then?
We don't have the exact dates. We don't have, basically, we're starting in the Northeast somewhere and then potentially ending in Texas.
Oh, nice.
So it'd be a couple weeks, a little less than 3 weeks. And yeah, I'm like anxiously awaiting where we're playing, but just like we'll see what happens.
Well, that's further, right? That's further than New Orleans. So the
Yeah.
band's going to be venturing out to the furthest points at this point.
Yeah, brand new territory. We'll see what happens.
That's awesome. Uh, do you have any regional areas? Obviously, hometown for any band is, where you're going to get your best response, friends, family, and all the things. You play more shows there, all that stuff. But do you have another city that is like the home away from home or the place that you play more often than others?
I mean, we definitely played Gainesville more than any other place. And like playing that festival down there, it's just, I don't know. We were talking about it because it's coming up in about a month. It's like the Halloween weekend. Uh, you play shows there, and like people who come to see you are fans, and they're coming from other places around America. Some people come from overseas, and they're super pumped about your music, and everyone's super excited. It's just like the best environment to play in. So outside of Pittsburgh, that is definitely like our second home away from home.
When you guys play fest, are you hitting a show or two along the way, or do you drive straight in, or do you fly straight in and back?
Some of us fly, some of us drive. It changes every year. But we try to do the shows on the way down, but there's so many bands doing the same thing. Um, because I can't remember what other festival is kind of on the way between here and there. I feel like it's a couple days before, so like trying to get shows on the way down is almost just pointless. Just because there's so many other bands trying to do the same thing. So
Right.
it just makes
Probably
more sense.
costs more than it's worth then.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so it just for us it makes more sense just to get down there, play and head back. So that's kind of the way we do it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's coming up in a month, and then you have the November. Do you have anything else planned for the band? Because I mean, new album, obviously you want to promote it, push it. Do you have a hometown release show?
No, no, I mean, we played last night and it was kind of like our not announced, kind of announced album release show. Um, but I don't think we did one for the previous record either. Um, we just kind of like went out and played shows to promote it. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I don't think we've officially done a record release show for the past three records that I've been a part of.
That's fair. I mean,
Yeah.
if you play local shows, I mean, how often do you guys play in Pittsburgh?
We probably play like maybe like once every couple months in Pittsburgh. For friends are coming through, friends bands were like, hop on, promote, help them promote their shows. Yeah, not a ton. I it seems to be more beneficial for us if we have the opportunity to get out, play around than just play
Okay.
here.
On so Say 10 Records is where the last release, but also this release are being released. And other than digitally, how are you guys putting out the new record?
We have vinyl. We press some CDs. Obviously, it's on every digital platform. But ha having vinyl super nice. Like it's nice having a physical thing with big artwork and things like that. So
I know all the things, right? The lyric sheets and whatever, the pictures, the whatever you want to include that might go along with the album. That's why one of the things I love about the vinyl, and so many bands do something cool for their album artwork. And when you're looking at a legit thing that's as big as your thumbnail, right? That
yeah,
it's like it's hard to really appreciate something like that. And even at a CD, the dimensions aren't quite right. It's a little smaller. And when you get vinyl, it's almost as if you have a new art piece, visual art piece on top of getting the music.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. We try to put time and thought into the art and try to tie it in with the music and kind of create a feel and a vibe for the songs. So it's super nice to get it in like an actual, like big physical copy.
Well, at least on for sure your last two albums. I haven't seen the artwork for the new album yet, but the last two albums, you have so much going on there that you definitely want to have that larger thing to see. Otherwise, you're clicking on it and trying to magnify it, and hopefully, whatever the dimensions are, they don't blur because you've now magnified something that was so small in comparison because there is so much going on that artwork.
Yeah, yeah. You don't want to like look at a tiny pixelated thumbnail.
Right.
Oh, look at all these colorful squares.
Is the vinyl available as of tomorrow then?
Yeah, you can pre-order it through us or Say 10, and then yeah, I think Say 10 started shipping out pre-orders, so you can get it. But yeah, officially out on the 26th.
And then people will be able to get that from you, obviously, the upcoming shows at Fest in about a month,
Hmm.
November tour, all of that.
Yep, most definitely.
Perfect. What other kind of merch should people expect to see from you guys? I mean, you guys have such uh, absurdity in the best way. I mean that in the greatest way possible. So I think when you do those kind of things, you can have really interesting things along with, I mean, just the album artwork, right? We just talked about the album artwork. You can have such
Yeah.
great things that go there, but then on top of that, you can do so many other great things with t-shirts and stickers and patches and whatever else. So what could people look forward to at your shows?
We're actually pressing stuff now, merch wise. Like we haven't had a hoodie in a long time, so we're gonna have a hoodie this year, some hats, enamel pins, the typical like white artwork on black t-shirt. We'll have that. We do have like the from the No Effects record, the we printed a punk rock ruined my life t-shirt, which always seems to do pretty well. So that's kind of like our go-to merch. Like people buy that without even hearing the band, which I always think is amazing. So
It gives a reason. And as with all merch, right? When people are wearing it, it is like mobile advertising.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, we'll try to have a pretty diverse merch table this year. That's kind of been our Dan and I have been kind of banging our heads together trying to get interesting stuff that's eye-catching, but still, you know, I don't know. We go back and forth about like adding a lot of color to our merch. It's like extra cost, which sucks. And Dan's just like, look around, man. Everyone has like white artwork on a black t-shirt. That's it. Just stick with that. Stick with what works. Okay, fine.
I think if you're doing one or two t-shirts, that's probably the right way to do it. But I think if you're doing three, four, five, something like that, then having at least one with some color on it, because I guarantee you will, if they were all color, then it would be really hard to tell, right? But if you have
Mhm.
one color and then three or four with the white, I think you'll notice that all the whites will probably sell relatively similar, but that color one overall would probably sell really good if you compare it individually to each shirt because some people like some color. I mean,
Yeah,
I like
totally.
black shirts, but
Yeah.
I don't mind the color on the shirts. Like I have seen too many great shirts that were in blue or red or gray or green or yellow even, and I'm like, no, I know I'm not gonna wear it. I know
Yeah.
I'm gonna have that shirt. It's gonna hang in my closet, and I'm not gonna pull the yellow t-shirt down and wear it. But a black t-shirt with yellow on it, sure, I'll wear that one.
Yeah, that's Dan's perspective. And I'm like, really? No one wears any? He's like, nope, nope, just black t-shirt. Okay, fine.
Yeah. I will agree with Dan on that one. I think the color on the shirts can be really good, but I don't know why. I don't know why. Like I have to really talk myself into it. Like I do like red, so I will wear red more often than the other colors. But man, like the heather gray, I can't even stand the heather gray on shirts. Like as soon as I look at that, I'm like, I don't even care what's on the shirt. I don't want to wear it. I know I'm not going to wear that shirt.
Well, this is good. This is making me feel better that, Dan has a good point of view. But yeah, I guess it just kind of goes back, just keep it simple, like nice little catchy designs, and that's it.
Right. And the hoodie's a great time. This time of year, you're going to have it at your upcoming shows, which are going to be October. I mean, even in Florida, but people, as you pointed out, are going to be traveling in. Not everybody's going to live in Gainesville. I mean,
Mhm.
if I lived in Gainesville, I probably wouldn't wear a hoodie at all throughout the whole entire year.
I
But
don't know. You'd be surprised, man. It like gets to like 78, 75. People in Florida are like, man, it's cold. And they're like, have hoodies on. So, they rock the hoodies.
you're right. I think you acclimate, is what I would say, because I'll go to, from Salt Lake. It's different than like I'll go to Las Vegas or I'll go to Phoenix during the winter. And as soon as I go, I'm leaving something like 30 degrees, as I'm sure, temperatures you're going to be used to in Pittsburgh.
For sure.
And I'll go to Vegas and it's 30 degrees warmer wherever we're at. So it's in the 60s and I'm t-shirt and shorts and I'm walking around watching people in coats
Uh-huh.
and pants. And I'm like, no, I'm wearing flip-flops. I don't even need socks on in 60 degrees.
Yeah, it is true. People do acclimate really fast, and it's funny, especially when you travel around. I'm like, this is 45 degrees. It's pretty normal.
Right, I'll take it. And
Yeah.
the hoodies, like I say, it's a good time of year. I saw a band, I want to say it was in Las Vegas and back in May, and they had hoodies. And I'm like, oh, God, the hoodie looks cool, but I'm not gonna wear that hoodie for like 6 or 7 months at this point. It's way too hot. It's the very beginning of summertime, so maybe not the right time to go sell the hoodie, but man, October, November, I'm sure it's the time that you would kill it selling those things.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Right. What's the future plans for the band? Since the band had kind of a break, I suppose, as a
Hmm.
lot of bands did, but now you're kind of building up that momentum again. Uh, where do the Dans and Nick and you see the band going from here?
I mean, we definitely want to be consistent. Like, we want to do this push to promote the new record, and we really want to get out and support it. And it's just being consistent with like our messaging online. And it's just funny. Like, I've been so overwhelmed with, trying to promote this record. It's like, oh crap, you got to like write new songs. At some point, like, you'll have to record a new record. So I think we're just trying to be consistent, keep the messaging out, keep the push for this record going. At the same time, get back in and start writing new stuff. So that's kind of the what we're hoping to do. We definitely want to push and get out and really promote this record because I don't know, I like it. So I want to kind of get it in front of people and, show them how good it is.
I think consistency helps, as you pointed out, earlier on, at least the band kind of was swapping members here and there.
Hmm.
But I think consistency, if you get a consistent group of guys, it's going to be easier to be on the same page as far as, hey, we're going to push, we're going to go play some shows, we're going to travel, play some shows, we're going to write and practice and record and get next stuff ready to go too. So when you're swapping members out, then obviously it's probably a setback because you got to get new members. They got to know whatever songs you guys are going to go play at shows. So then you can go play shows again. And then once you're at that point, then it's like, all right, maybe we start writing again. So consistency probably helps that forward momentum.
Oh yeah. I mean, especially for this record, it was the first time, at least since I've been in the band, where we had like a consistent lineup. So everyone was kind of like once we got on the same page and kind of had an idea of what we were going for, it was so much easier just to kind of, have the same guys. You kind of have an idea what how they write, what they're thinking, kind of what their backgrounds are musically, and it just kind of came together. It was long, but in a weird way, it was easier because it was, like you said, we had a consistent band members for a period of time.
Right. You pointed out that early on, the first couple albums, you guys had two vocalists, and now you're at one.
Hmm.
How does that work? How do you guys work that in, I guess, on how those other songs, like I'm not sure the percentage of songs that had two vocalists are in your live sets, but that's where it matters, I guess, at this point, having only one vocalist is the live set, and then the songs that did have two. Do you have someone else in the band sing, or does one guy do all the vocals for all of those tracks now?
Dan does probably a majority of the heavy lifting, especially on the older songs where there was two vocalists. But we have a couple other guys. I do some singing. Max, the bass player, and Dan Nelson, one of the other guitar players, will do some singing. On the new record, though, it's probably 80% Dan. He's like the, real heavy, does a lot of the screaming. And then I'm kind of like his anger translator where I'll kind of like do some backups or kind of repeat what he's saying, just like in a more singing kind of way. So I'm like his anger translator.
The more audible way, like the first time you hear the song when it's kind of angry, almost in that screaming sense. Sometimes like, what was that? You gotta hear
Yeah.
that again. But then there you go. You're the guy that's the echo
Yeah.
almost. Oh,
I
that's what it
just,
was. Okay.
yeah, I just clarify.
And sometimes it's needed. Sometimes it sounds better in the first sense, but then you also want to know what's going on. So having the translators beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah. It works. Seemed to work out pretty well.
Well, that's very cool. How many songs from the new album do you guys expect to be playing at Fest and then your upcoming shows?
Definitely doing the singles. We'll probably pull out maybe one or two more, but trying to mix like the older stuff with the newer stuff. We'll definitely be doing the singles. So definitely the first four songs that came out. 100%.
Well, that is the trick when you have previous work, and especially when it's multiple previous releases. I mean, you guys have the three albums, but then other smaller releases, splits, and so forth
Hmm.
that you were a part of. So a lot of material that has been played, but also, as with most bands get more excited about playing their newer things. They like the newer stuff. Sounds evolve, band members evolve, change, evolve, all of the things that kind of lead into being a little bit more excited about playing the new stuff. You haven't played it as much. Sometimes the older stuff you played a lot more, so you're a lot less excited about playing.
Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of cool. Like the older stuff from the newer stuff is so different that it's almost kind of refreshing when you like mix in older songs with newer songs. It's like the style is almost totally changed. So, you're kind of like, oh, we get to do like fast punk, and then we get to do like heavy, kind of like post-hardcore stuff or whatever. And, we're just kind of keeping ourselves excited in that way, in a kind of odd way.
Oh,
So
that's
it keeps
good.
like the old stuff and the new stuff fresh.
Well, since you do have a little bit of variety in that mix, if you were going to do what was it, the Band of Dans as a
Mhm.
side project, what kind of style do you think you guys would do as a side project?
Band of Dans. I don't know. I could see that being like a real, like we kind of detune the guitars like three steps and have it kind of like, heavy, drony. Could see the Dans being like very drony.
There you go.
Yeah. So total change, like really slow, really heavy, kind of, yeah, metal stuff, like drony metal. I think that would be the Band of Dans.
There you go. I like it. I mean, most people listen to a variety of things. I mean, you can listen to bands too and probably tell that the different band members are getting influences and such that of their own and, blends all together and so forth. So you can tell that. And so if you were going to do a side project, why would you want to do a side project that sounds the same as the other one? I guess you just have more material for that band as opposed to it being a side project.
Yeah. I mean, side project, you got to go completely off base or else it's not a side project. I mean, that's like
Right?
the cool thing about side projects. You get to just like do whatever the hell you want.
Exactly.
So maybe like, yeah, we'll do the drony heavy thing with the Band of Dans, and then maybe we'll have like a folk rock record. as another, maybe like, you know, two Dans and a Max or something. That'll be like the folk rock.
There you go.
Yeah.
You guys will be able to play a whole set. It'll be a very mixed bill, and it'll be just you guys playing.
Yeah. And we just make all the money,
There you go.
which is like no money.
Right. That unfortunately is the style. That is the genre that you are involved with, the genre that music that I play. Unfortunately, all the bands are
Mhm.
destined to hopefully cover their costs. That's the goal.
Yeah, that is the dream. We came back and spent zero, but earned zero.
Right.
That is that is just like the high water mark of going out and playing.
I mean, when you think about it, playing in a band is a hobby, right? Other people have hobbies. They go join recreation leagues, they go play video game, whatever the hobby is out there. Shoot, people go hiking, skiing, boating. I mean, that's a really expensive hobby. So
Yeah.
if you could have a hobby that pays for itself, that's pretty fantastic.
Yeah. I mean that for me anyway, that is the absolute dream. Like if I could get to the point where yeah, I leave and costs are covered and I come back and I'm not like seriously in debt, that's definitely a win. Yeah, because
Yeah,
you know, having a hobby that is just like draining money is not the best of hobbies. But that you don't do it because, you know, I'm not doing it for the money. Obviously, I'm doing it because I enjoy being with my friends and playing this wild stuff and, you know, getting to cut loose. So it's, you know, not about the money. Be nice, but, you know, you can't do it for this long if you're searching for money.
right. Yeah, I think that that's your motivation, as we talked about, like at the very beginning. It's those are probably the bands that didn't last
Yeah.
because their motivation was that, and they realized, oh, I can't do that. I mean, that was like there's a few bands from like the 70s that were able to do it back then,
Mhm.
and then the 90s when you had that resurgence, and then for the most part, everybody else is just hoping to cover their costs.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's why everyone's doing all these reunions. It's like to be in a new band is like almost, I don't know. I couldn't imagine doing it. It's like almost impossible. Like starting from scratch, that would just be brutal.
Right? That totally. And along the lines of, the outcome the wolves part, right? So Rancid they'll make money every time they go out.
Sure.
But a good example is Matt Freeman in the band, right? He's got a metal band, Charger, and they do all right, but it's not making. He can't go out and just be like, all right, I'm not going to do Rancid anymore. I'm going to do Charger because Charger is bringing in so much money. And I think he just started a brand new band that just dropped an EP like a week or two ago called, I want to say Crime Wave 66, right? And I just came across it and was like, who's this? Because it was a recommendation. Then I looked into it. So obviously that band is probably not going to turn out to be the moneymaker band either. I think he's probably just doing those things as we just talked about because they are different styles of music. Because both of those bands are very different than Rancid. And he probably just
Mhm.
wants to, be in a band with some other people and do some other things. But those are not going to be bands that he's starting that are going to translate into, all right, they're huge and I'm going to travel the world and make money with this. No, he's going to go back with Rancid, do those reunion type shows and tours whenever they do albums, and then that's where he's going to make money with music.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can't even, I'm trying to think of like off the top of my head, like a band that was that big where the members like started another band and became equally or at least like somewhat popular. I mean, I'm sure there are bands that do it, but it's, I don't know. I feel like it's super, super rare.
I agree. I agree.
Especially now, I feel like it's even harder just because there's just so much music out on, you know, all the streaming platforms. Like, I don't know. It goes back to like the mystery of algorithms and what you do to like get exposed. It's just like, I don't know, man. I feel like unless you're established already, like, I don't know. I don't know what the secret sauce is for that kind of stuff. It's like just a crazy world.
It is. I would say on the streaming things, there's playlists, right? But how do those you got to go back to the beginning. How do those playlists get to be that type of a playlist where if your songs can end up on those playlists, then you have a better chance of people really discovering your band, right? And
Mhm.
that's a good way to do it, utilizing those. But that's the thing is, first, I guess, how do you get on something, one of those once they're established? But just as the band is working to get established, there's other playlists and stuff like that. And so if you can't get on the one that launches bands into being very well known, I guess, for lack of a better phrase for it, well, then how do you figure out the ones that somebody's going to discover you more than if you just post some stuff on your Instagram and like, hey, we
Yeah,
got some new music out?
I don't know. I not that it's possible, but I mean, put our band on Madden or like any of the EA sports games or whatever other game that people play. Like, I don't know. That would be where it's like in the background and you're just hearing it, like not even paying attention to it, and then oh, it's like I like this now, but I don't, that would be that would be my goal.
Right? That was back in the early 2000s, I think, though. Some of them video games out there, obviously Tony Hawk, any Tony Hawk game was
Oh yeah, of
that game,
course.
but there were a handful of other games, like off-roading game. I can't remember which one it was that I played. Madden was definitely a good one too,
Mhm.
and probably still is. But sometimes, how do you get on that? Like for a while, the Rock Band and Guitar Hero games were a really good in to get your music on, right? And the
Yeah,
people are actually going to be playing your music,
I know.
but
Like
those
literally
kind of
playing.
lost interest.
Yeah, I feel like I something just came up where it was like an interview with the singer from AFI, and he was saying how I forget like their really big hit came like they were in a fight with their label about putting it on a Madden game, and he didn't want to do it. And then I guess the label won them over, and they did it, and that was like their number one hit. So he's like, yeah, okay, I guess they were right.
If your goal is to get your music heard by more people, then I don't see why you don't do things like that. Like if you feel like what you're doing is above certain things, like being put on a video game, if you think that's below what you're doing, then I guess you put your foot in the ground, line in the sand, whatever. But if your goal is to have more people hear your stuff, then take whatever opportunity you can.
Yeah, put me in a video game. Put
Right?
music. I'm all game for it.
You were mentioning earlier about like friends that come through town, their bands. So I think why not, if you have any recommendations of some bands that you guys are friends with that are outside of Pittsburgh, and then for sure, who are some other bands that we should check out on top of your band from Pittsburgh?
I mean, from Pittsburgh, there's a band called Ed Hockley that they are just unbelievable. They're playing like they're getting out of town, they're doing festivals, and they are live, just like unreal. They I think they have two drummers now, and they are just like even if you're not into the music, which is like pretty heavy riffs, screaming vocals, like just watching them is just like such a treat. It's just unbelievable. They're so good.
Ed
So
Hockley, right? That's a referee in the NFL.
yeah. So yeah, I mean they're if you have a chance to see them and they're coming into your neck of the woods, like they are definitely worth getting out of your house and going to check out live. They're unbelievable.
Awesome. Do you have any other bands that you guys, you're mentioning that might come through your neck of the woods and you guys jump on and play with them when they do? Any other recommendations of people that we should check out?
I mean, Signals Midwest, they're our brothers they're from Cleveland mainly, and they're just great. They're like the perfect fest band. They like have the catchiest, like hookiest like choruses and guitar lines you can just like totally get behind without even knowing who they are. Um, they're just great. Great live band, great recordings, great songs. Like can't talk them up enough. So Signals Midwest for sure.
Excellent. Definitely check those out. You guys have a great back catalog, 4 albums and some other splits. You've done splits before. Would you guys do a split again? I'm sure you would. But if you would, who would you guys want to do a split with?
God, if Ed Hockley was like, "Hey, you guys want to do a split?" I'd do that in a second. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'd pretty much like any band that we're friends or into, I would hop at that in chance. Signals in West, they want to do it? Let's do it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything that we haven't covered about World's Scariest Police Chases that you think we should know?
No, I mean, just the new record. If you see us coming through town, Please come say hi. Buy our merch. It's super cool. Black
Right?
t-shirts and white artwork. I mean, how can you go wrong?
Right. Right. Where's the best places to follow along then? Because as you pointed out, I mean, everybody can figure out Fest is coming up. It's got its dates. It's has its continual location. But
Mhm.
for November and then beyond, news about the band, shows that the band will be doing. When you post that upcoming tour, where should people follow you as a band?
Yeah, we'll definitely have that up on. I think Instagram is probably the one location that we're pretty constantly adding new content, but we also have a website. It's wspcband.com. That's we try to get a lot of the stuff, and that's also kind of like a link tree to everywhere else. Um, was it Bandcamp? We'll typically have like our merch, our dates will be up there. So yeah. Just unfortunately, you have to type in "World Scariest Police Chases" into Google band, but you can track us down.
You could do it on Google. The website's really easy to find, but if you type it into any of the specific social medias or over on Bandcamp without going to Google, then you don't come up with all the other stuff that you're going to have to sift through.
Yeah, you can definitely narrow it down a little bit. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Save yourself a little time.
But the website again, it was WSS SPC.
WSPC
There we go.
band. Yeah, worldscariestpolicechases.com.
Okay. Well, that's perfect. Well, Rob, I really appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is it's great. Love talking.
I do
It's
too.
really enjoyable.
It's awesome, and I look forward to hopefully get to see you guys. But you're not going to be quite making it as far as where I'm at. But I hope to see you again at some point, or I definitely want to get to Fest one of these years as well. So since you guys are a Fest regular, then I could definitely see you there.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you come out west, I mean, I don't always recommend Salt Lake City, especially in the coming months, because it's very hit and miss on if you're going to make it here or if the snow, if it comes through, will cancel you out. But if you come into summer months, not that bad. There's a lot of other cities that are pretty far away, but still have a pretty good scene.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully, we can make it out to the West Coast. I mean, obviously, like I said, maybe the spring or something like that, early summer. Make it out that way so we don't get snowed in and stuck.
Right. And the Pacific Northwest, all the way down, like the entire coast, has so many great cities. So it's definitely worth a trip if you guys get the opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. Love to make it.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you taking the time.
All right, thanks.